Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Kerbal Space Program. So we have enough pilots to last us for a while if we stop throwing them into the sides of mountains. And we just need to build a slightly better spaceship now. Which, come to think of it, makes me think maybe we should take a tutorial on, like, how to build a better dang spaceship, because we're building a lot of dumb ones. Here we go. How to design a craft that can orbit Kerbin and return safely. Sure. Sign me up. Okay, here we go. Build a thing. Yes, go to the VAB. Okay, in the last tutorial we built a vessel that could escape the atmosphere, but it didn't go for long. This time around we'll do more advanced stuff like multiple stages and boosters, and like RCS and solar panels, which we don't have yet, I don't think. Okay. Orbital operations, okay, very good. There are lots more parts available. An orbit-capable craft is much more complex than the little puddle jumper we built last time. Okay. Select the pod, so let's do that. And put a parachute on it. These are down here. And set the min pressure to 0.75. Don't know why. That keeps it from going off while we're in space? I still don't quite see why that's useful. But okay. Shouldn't this part take care of it? I don't know. Now we're gonna build an upper stage. This upper stage... Wait, isn't this the upper stage and we're deploying the lower stage now? I don't know. The upper stage will finish... Okay, so I guess this is a pod, then we're building an upper stage, and below that we'll build a lower stage. Provides RCS steering thrusters. Okay. It'll provide the re-entry burn. Okay. So this is the orbiting stage. Going to consist of a decoupler, because we don't want to carry it home. An RCS fuel tank, a liquid fuel tank, RCS thrusters, solar panels, batteries. Holy cow. Okay. And then a stack decoupler below the pod, of course. Sure. So that makes sense. Yeah. An RCS tank. Where would that be? Electrical? No, right? I guess fuel tanks? Oh yeah. There we go, these little guys. Okay. Okay, your craft is not going to need all the monopropellant. Interesting. So you can say, actually, we don't need all of this. Make it lighter by putting less fuel in it. And you could do this with other fuel tanks, I suppose. Yeah. We'll be adding multiple liquid fuel tanks. And we need an extra tank. So, we'll add several liquid fuel tanks to get the right amount for the upper stage engine, and then we'll add one more to offset the weight of the RCS, I guess. Alright. Add a tiny rocket propellant tank. This one. And then a medium one under it. Okay, so this is enough to push the... I don't know. Apparently this is enough to offset the RCS, and this is enough to do everything else, but I don't know how I would know that. Add a Terrier engine. So it does almost nothing at sea level, but in space, it's great. Okay, so it's good for an upper stage. Good to know. that's cool, I guess. Engines. Put a Terrier on. So how can I tell from looking at these stats which is good? Like, obviously he's just told me, but I want to know how I can figure that out in general. What's different about these? Liquid fuel and oxidizer, they both have both of those. This is considered a breakthrough because of thrust vectoring. This is useful as a final stage in landing engine, yeah, but... Oh, I see. ASL must mean at sea level, and VEC must mean, like, I assume vectored, but I don't know. What it is in a vacuum or something is implied, and then it says VEC to tell you it's vectored. So at sea level, it does, like, almost nothing, and vectored, it does, like, not that much, but enough. Okay, fine. Show center of mass. Alright, so tell me about center of mass. That's something I've been looking at, but I don't understand yet. Okay, it'll get you in orbit if you put enough rocket under it. So the idea is to get this part up into space and then use it to correct into an orbital trajectory. So to make sure that it flies controllably, some parts need to be placed carefully around a point inside the ship called the center of mass. The center of mass is a spot where the mass on one side is balanced by the mass on the other side. Yeah. Thrust applied through the center of mass will cause it to move without rotation, while thrust applied around the center of mass will cause the ship to rotate without moving. Okay, that seems, yeah, sure. This makes the center of mass such a useful and important thing that we added a tool so the assembly building can show it to you with a marker. Yes. Show me center of mass. Yes, it's there. Very good. So, I guess that means we want to put the RCS around the center of mass. When we're adding the RCS things, they're going to go around here. Okay. Adjust the fuel levels in some of the tanks and see how that affects the center of mass. Interesting. Right-click each of the fuel tanks. Wait, each of them? Don't we have only one? Oh no, there's one here and one here. And adjust it down to 0. Ah, and we can see what that does to the center mass. So this does very little. This does very little also. And this one, it moves. Whoa, it moves higher. So that makes sense. We empty this and it moves the center of mass higher, because this is low. But this one, when we empty it, it actually moves the center of mass just barely, not much, a bit lower, because where it currently is above the center of mass. Okay. So he wants me to leave it emptied, though, in order to advance with the tutorial. So once this part is all empty, the center of mass will be up here. Alright. Now refill the tanks, and yeah, okay. And we can add some stuff to the upper stage. Now we know where the center of mass is when it's full and when it's empty. We have the information to place the RCS thrusters. So we want the RCS thrusters to be where it is when this is mostly empty, or like half empty or something. Okay, so in order, we want to translate it, understood. We need to balance the thrusters around the center of mass. That's what I said. That's what I predicted earlier. Not that this is haha rocket science, but yes, I was right about that. The net sum of forces is balanced right on the natural pivot point. For two equal sets of thrusters, each set should be equidistant from the center of mass. And for a single set, they should be right around the center of mass. The center of mass changes during flight, so you need to place the thrusters at a compromise. In career mode games, RCS thrusters don't become available until fairly late. In the meantime, the reaction wheel capability will be enough to turn. Okay, so the command pod can turn a bit. but we can't translate. Well, fine. Turn on angle snap. Okay. And we want 4 of these. Tiny rocket propellant is about the right place to attach them. Yeah, so the center of mass. So we concluded that emptying these moves it higher. Okay. Oops. Yeah. Okay, so let's command and control. Yeah, add some RCS thrusters on this bad boy. If you don't get it right, okay, you still want fine adjustments for that. Wait, what? If you don't get the placement quite right, you can use the offset gizmo to fine-tune their position. Why do I need anything finely adjusted? Oh, turn the center mass indicator off when you're done, I see. Okay. Lots of things use electric charge. To keep the batteries topped off, we want power, so some engines generate electricity while they're running, but we don't want to keep our engine running the whole time. Yes, makes sense. So there are some batteries in the command pod, and we can add more batteries, and we can add solar panels. Great. Oh, geez, this is complicated. I don't really want to orbit. I just want to get up into space without blowing stuff up. Oh well. We'll continue with this tutorial anyway. Grab a solar panel. Should be under electricity, I suppose? Yeah. And how many of these do we want? We want 4 of them. No. Just 1. Oh yeah, no, place a set. Hold it over the lower end of the fuel tanks. I guess that's here? Adjust the panels before placing them. So what? Press A to rotate at 90 degrees. Okay, just so it's pointing a bit like that. Alright, fine, I guess. And then put some batteries in between those. Fine. Okay, so now we have to build a lower stage. Okay. So add a stack decoupler below this. Fine. Now we need to add fuel tanks, so let's add 2 of the medium propellant tanks, which were here. Okay. An engine that is a sustainer. The engine that burns from liftoff until well after the boosters. Okay, so a swivel. So this is still useful. I was thinking about, like, maybe we want the rocket, the solid fuel boosters to launch to get us up high, but like they don't really vector very well. So what I was thinking of, like, what if we added a liquid fuel thing while we're burning the solid fuel? And that's what he's talking about doing here, I think, is... And like, would we start it at the beginning of the launch or near the end? I don't know. So, okay, let's read what he's saying about this. Rocket engine is measured by specific impulse. Oh, ISP, impulse specific, fine. And that changes as the amount of atmospheric pressure changes. The upper stage needs an engine that's good at the low air pressure. The lower stage needs boosters which are powerful at the higher air pressure at low altitude. Okay. And to help carry the rocket through its transition from launch to upper, it needs a sustainer, which is sort of in between boosters and upper stage rockets, having a wide range. Okay. So the big engine is a sustainer. It's good. It's kind of like okay at both high and low pressure. Okay. Tweak the swivel. At its default thrust level, it's too powerful for the rocket we're creating. Interesting. So we need to lower its thrust level. Huh. But why don't I just, like... make it... This is adjustable. I could just make it not... during flight, I can just, like, lower it down. Like, I could leave it at 100% here, and then set it at 65% while I'm flying. So I'm not sure what the point of this exercise is, but okay, you got me. I'll do it. Maybe it's just so I don't have to remember to do all that. I guess. Okay. We'll also add boosters. 2 boosters symmetrically to keep it balanced. Yes, of course. And we attach them with decouplers. Radial decouplers, they can sit beside the lower stage and fire at the same time as the sustainer. Sure, makes sense. So we'll grab a radial decoupler and put 2 of them on. Doesn't really matter where, so say here. Actually, did he tell me how high to put it? I don't know. He didn't complain when I put it there, so let's grab these hammers, put them on. Looks good. Yeah, you can't adjust the throttle during flight. Ah, but we can use the throttle limiter before flight to adjust how much these guys are going to have. Right-click on it and set it to 50. Okay. Not sure exactly why we want to do that. It'll make them burn longer and less powerfully. I'm not sure why we want to do that. The pod and thumpercraft survivable? The thrust, I don't remember that actually. Okay, well, whatever. Was the problem that it burned up on its way up through the atmosphere or something? Okay. So we could put like a thumper at like 50% thrust, and then it would burn not quite so hot on the way up, but sustain longer, which would be great. We would get going pretty high. Okay. Right now the solid rocket boosters have, yeah, okay, so we want to put aerodynamic cones on the top. Fine. That's easy. Next. And we want some fins. So 4 of them near the lowest fuel tank. And make sure they don't intersect. Wait, where? They add extra control authority when low in the atmosphere. Okay. So, what are they for? They stabilize your craft. They shouldn't matter when you're in space. But before that, they, I guess, let you... They keep you stable and let you become unstable if you want to turn in a particular direction. So we want to grab some winglets. Okay. So, okay, maybe in the normal game, do we have winglets? Or do we just, like, are they actually good control surfaces? I don't know, I should find out. So we want, he said, 4 of these. Right? But I can't actually put 4 on. Near the bottom of the lowest fuel tank in the lowest stage. But I can't. It keeps taking me out of 4x symmetry. There we go. Is that good? Yeah, it's almost good. Okay, it's a little dicey. I could maybe scoot a bit there, maybe? Okay, I guess that'll do. It's not touching anything. It's attached. I'll take it. Oh, but maybe try to keep it actually attached to the fuel jet part and not the engine. I don't know if that matters, but... Spooky. I'm a little bit worried about this intersecting. Oh, this looks good. That's perfect. Okay. Finally got it exactly where I wanted it. Now we have it all attached. Review the staging stack. Okay, so we want this. He's pointing out the solid rocket boosters are firing before the sustainer, but we want both at the same time. So move this into here, fire them both. And then we, next stage, decouple solid rocket boosters. Then when this is empty, we'll decouple it. And then we'll activate the upper stage, and then finally decouple the upper stage and land. Okay. Finally, pick it up and rotate it 90. Huh. Okay. Oops. Pick it up and press Q. Ah! I didn't pick up the whole thing, though. Ah! Undo, undo, undo. There we go. So pick up the whole thing and press Q or E. Interesting. So you can change how they're aligned so that rather than tilting right, you just tilt up. That doesn't seem to make a huge difference, but probably it's convenient. Didn't I already do that? Why are you not letting me hit next? Looks good. Alright, well, this is finally, so I don't know. I guess the fact that the tutorial forgot what to do, maybe because we hit undo or something? I don't know. Or maybe it is supposed to be done and it just like, I don't know, the next button shouldn't be there if you're not supposed to press it. So I don't know. I think something went wrong, but let's leave. Don't save. So we built a thing there. We learned some interesting facts. Let's see if we can apply any of it real quick to, yeah, load. To our in-game thing. To get a slightly better rocket for our experimental mission of trying to get a thing. Okay, so we attach that. So let's see, what exactly do we want? We do want an orbital stage, but it doesn't have to be very big. Just something like this is fine. Oh, put in a decoupler. We want it to be this stupid Rockomax thing. It's pretty heavy. Let's put in a little more fuel to compensate for how absurdly heavy that thing is. And this is sort of like the best we're gonna do. I don't know, this and this are pretty similar, really. This one, I guess, is a little bit better for flying, for making adjustments in space. We don't really need much of an orbital module, because we're not going to really orbit. We just want to adjust our direction once we're up, so that it's a less outrageous. Hopefully we won't even have to do that. Let's put in another decoupler. So we're going to try and build something similar to what we built in the tutorial. Ordinary one, please. And I don't remember how many of these large things we put in. Four? I don't think it was that many. Maybe it was. How are we for parts, by the way? We're only at 10. That's fine. Put like a swivel on the bottom here. I think we only had 2. I don't know, it shouldn't make a huge difference, right? Put a... Where's our decoupler? We need a radial decoupler for our boosters here. Obviously, we don't have to do everything exactly like in the orbital tutorial, but I think it's probably good for us. Put in a couple of hammers here to help us get going. Still doing okay for parts? Yeah, doing okay. Not amazing. Put these in. Gonna want a parachute, that's pretty important. Since we're not bringing anything else up, we can just make do with the one parachute. Good idea to add in those fins, I think. So this winglet is not a control surface, it's just a lifting surface. So we could stand to have some better science to get us better control. All right, well, fine. It's a little tricky to line up is all. Something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty all right. And now, it seems crazy to me that I agree we want to limit the thrust on these hammer guys. That seems pretty reasonable. We want them to burn not quite so hot, but for a longer period of time. This one, it seems a little bit silly to me, but... Oh, whoops. This one, we want to limit the thrust to like 65, allegedly. Okay. Seems interesting. And we want this to fire at the same time as that. What's this all about? Let's put the parachutes in another step. Activate this, then when we're done with it, decouple it, and then when we're ready, activate the parachute. How are we doing for parts? 22. So we do have room to put in a bit more if we want. I could put in some science here, but I think that I'll just do nothing to make make sure that I don't mess things up too much. I don't know, we'll put a thermometer on. There you go. See how hot it is in space. And let's give this guy a launch. This episode's getting a little bit longish, but I'm interested to try this out. Oh, I should have checked who was piloting this, because we do need a real proper pilot, not just some crummy old Kerb who doesn't know how to do anything. But we got it. We got Valentina in. Okay, this is a very dubious looking rocket to me. But let's throttle up, turn on SAS, and so what we want to do here is get pretty high. that's I'm not even laughing because like it sounds like I'm talking about drugs, but because it's a pretty vague goal for a spaceship to have. But that's what we really want. You know, getting into a kind of orbital looking shape would be nice, but more important is to just get pretty high up there, and once we're there we can adjust adjust the trajectory, hopefully, so that we don't come straight down. I think we're ready to kick this off. I'm not sure exactly at what point I should start turning, but like, we'll give it a shot. Okay, we're taking off and seem to be going straight up. That's good news. Probably like now is a good time to do a little bit of turning. Not too much. Just like 80 degrees or something. Tilting 10 degrees over. That seems fine. How's our fuel doing? Pretty respectable. How's our apoapsis? 8,000? 9,000? Okay. Tilt a bit more, but not too much. Solid fuel is almost gone. It is gone now. Let's get rid of it. Turn over a bit more. Right, our apoapsis is getting... I think we're actually doing just fine. We don't need to turn over any more than this. Right? Apoapsis is getting high, and that's fine. Still got plenty of liquid fuel left. Keep an eye on our apoapsis here. 60. Alright, we want to get up to like 70 if we can. Actually, we want to get higher than that, because we kind of wanted this thing to get up to 100,000 just for fun. But doesn't look like that's happening, so let's get rid of this stage. And we'll just do a practice orbit here, I guess, is the idea. We could, now if we wanted to just go into orbit, we would point 90 degrees and, like, have at it. But I think I actually want to go a bit higher to see if we can get to 100,000 still. And so instead of waiting to apoapsis to fire, I'm going to just fire now to try and increase our height, as well as get us pointing a bit sideways. Okay, that should be plenty. And now we'll just spend the rest of it on going sideways. Let's stop, by the way. We're going plenty high now. And so I want to wait until we're a bit closer to apoapsis to... Well, we have a little bit of fuel left, I guess, and I just want to make sure we don't do anything super dumb with it. We're already high enough to do what we wanted to do, which is get to 100,000 meters here. We maybe could turn this into an orbit if we wanted to, but I don't think we could get out of it, and it wouldn't be a very good orbit anyway. Hooray, we did it! So we're just gonna savor having a remarkably controlled launch. Everything went great there. Now, of course, that's basically because we just, like, copied what the tutorial ship looked like. But, you know, we added a few little twists. This ridiculous decoupler at the top. And we didn't need them to tell us the flight plan. We had that handled pretty well. My grasp of orbital mechanics is pretty shaky, but I've watched a number of people get into orbit in Kerbal Space Program, which is practically like as good as an astrophysics degree, I think. Yeah, so let's just what are we gonna do with the last of our fuel here? We could widen our orbit a bit by when we get to apoapsis firing. I don't think we would risk getting stuck in orbit. We just don't have that much fuel. And it'll be nice to make the angle of attack a bit shallower on the way back down. So where actually is my... I guess this must be the direction I'm... This yellow circle here? Or is it green? I don't know. That must be my normal. Or my prograde? That's the word I'm thinking of, prograde. Heading 86 degrees. I don't know exactly what that means, but okay. It occurs to me that I pointed this thing north, and then I pressed D anyway, so I don't know what happened. I went east anyway, even though I thought that, according to the stuff, they... Oh no, I didn't actually turn it, that's why. I didn't point this one east, or like he suggested in the tutorial. Alright, well that's something I might do at some point. You know, I probably should have done this flight in the next episode, but I was just so anxious to give the stuff in the tutorial a try, and you know, we could be going a little bit faster here in space, but I'm kind of savoring the moment, listening to Kerbal Space Program's kind of wacky space music. And we're getting close to apoapsis here. Let's just speed things up a bit. Alright, that's pretty close. Let's just adjust to be pointing straight that way. Keep an eye on... Oh. Oops, I just staged. Well, okay. Stop hitting spacebar, you idiot! Alright, it wasn't doing anything. Good. Let's press Z to just fire off the rest of the fuel. Alright, and now we're done with it, so let's decouple. Yeah, pretty wide space flight here. I'm sure tourists would be happy with this. Let's speed things up and come back in for a landing. We look at new continents. We're flying over a whole continent. Incredible. I'd like to adjust... Is there like a button, comma or period to slow down? Yeah, alright. So period to speed up, comma to slow down. Got it. Woo! Wow, we can really whip it around there. Using physics warp can... Yeah, okay. Got it. I just won't shift very hard. Yeah. So, here we go. Re-entry. And we're coming in blunt end first, which is where we have all the heat shielding, I believe. Looks like the craft is holding up just fine. Something here is unhappy. I guess it was probably the parachute. What did we just lose? Yeah, we lost the parachute. Oh, did I accidentally hit spacebar too many times and deploy the parachute or something? Anyway, Jeb. No, this isn't Jeb. This is Valentina. I'm afraid you are due for the chopping block here because we somehow blew up the parachute? I guess? Right? No, the parachute looks okay. I'm not sure what exploded there. Oh, the thermometer, probably, right? I forgot to use the thermometer, and it's no longer here. Okay, well, good to know. Don't take a thermometer through the atmosphere, I guess. But everything else seems to have gone okay. So I think that we could take some passengers with us if we wanted to, and they would be just fine. I mean, let's make sure the parachute goes off in time. Yeah, okay, we're at a quite reasonable landing speed now. Whew! Alright, so that was a nice little flight. A good milestone. I don't know, like, we had been in suborbital spaceflight before, but this felt a lot more controlled, and we had a great angle for landing. And so I don't know. I feel like we could send some tourists up in a ship like that, which has not been the case for any ships we have deployed previously. Oh, do you want to do like a crew report or something? We should have done one in space. Yeah, all right. She does. That's not even interesting. She's just it's the ocean. All right, well, let's see what we got. Did we learn anything from this mission? We could have put like a science kit on, but I was afraid we were gonna make the craft too heavy. All right, well, we recovered a little just from having deployed a ship that went that high. And we recovered the command pod and the parachute. Fine. And got some experience. Okay, so we could do a ship very much like that, but without such a dumb decoupler, and instead a crew module. And I think that we would also be just fine. But that's something for a future episode. This one has run a bit long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.